Sure.
So
no, and I think there's another maybe easier way to think about it is that people will take these substances and then they have deep, profound truths that were hidden to them, revealed to them, maybe about themselves or how their childhood impacted them or the way that they interact in the world and the way that they're, without realizing it, ruining their relationships or something like that. And then the question is, did that come from clearing away all of the self-deception, removing the ego, and your own mind populates this truth that you've known all along but been hiding from yourself because of all your trauma, because of all your junk? Or are you opening your consciousness to a omniscient universal consciousness, and then the term people use is downloading this information from an external source? And in either case, it doesn't diminish the validity of the truth, and it also doesn't diminish how far you were from it before taking the psychedelic. But I do see a divide in psychedelic users in terms of if they think it came from that first internal experience I described or that second external experience.
Can I chime in real quick? I think that might be a bit of a false dichotomy that presumes that you are contained inside of your skin, and therefore anything that came from outside of that would be outside of you. I suppose the people that feel like they got downloads, and sometimes I consider myself in that group, it's not necessarily that I got a download, it's that I am bigger than I have realized. That there is, I don't know what to say. If there is an ego death and something remains, that something is not simply contained in the synapses of my brain and my suit, and in fact could even persist upon the cessation of electrical activity in my brain. So yes, it's a download from out there, but but I was out there all along. I just didn't know it. So
I'm curious to have you and Dylan and we can talk about it. I imagine that we all have different ideas of the metaphysical truth revealed to us from psychedelics.
Here's maybe a good litmus test here. Maybe even Rorschach test. Have you guys smoked an NDMT or 5-MeO-DMT?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Okay, so
that's the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Yeah.
On NMDMT, oftentimes one of the motifs that people experience are meeting entities or the machine elves. Maybe people have heard about that. Have you had the experience of communing or meeting with entities or machine elves?
I've had entities via ayahuasca, but I've never got the machine elves. No.
I've never had the machine elves either. Well, do you think you're actually? Here's a good question. Do you think you're actually meeting entities? Do you think that those are actual entities, or do you think that they're sort of I don't want to say a figment of the imagination, but some sort of cognitive construct that people often experience when these molecules are interacting with their brain chemistry in a certain way?
Well, I think Charlie and I probably disagree.
Yeah, here's the best way I can describe it. When it was happening, it was 100% positive this was an entity. There would be no convincing me otherwise. The day after and days I realized or saw that no, that was not in fact the case. This was just my own mind constructing things. Now, years later, having done several psychedelic experiences and realizing that the state that I am currently in often dictates what I perceive as real. So last night when I was dreaming that I was, whatever, I'm making this up, on a date with Cindy Crawford, I was totally convinced, and this morning I'm not.
Young Cindy or current Cindy?
Current Cindy.
The one that I remember from my childhood.
Current Cindy.
I have a bias towards the reality of the state that I am in without accounting for the fact that you are asking me this in an ordinary waking state of consciousness. And so I am now, I now create more space in my possibility actuarial tables for that was a real entity that spoke to me and was not a hallucination or something like that.
I often, and again, I actually don't. Would not propose to know that you are wrong. I think it isn't. I don't know if it's coincidence or not that your first experience was ayahuasca, which is so intense. And I wonder if the fact that I had previously smoked weed, had previously taken psilocybin with my eyes open, and then wandered around a beach in Bali, had previously done MDMA at a concert, had baby stepped my way there, such that when I was doing ayahuasca, I was like, oh, this is similar to an experience I've had. Whereas if you're, let's say, a random person wandering the desert and you've never had you're just completely sober your whole life, and then you smoke DMT, it's going to feel very, very, very much more so that you just communed with God, because you have no reference experiences to possibly compare that to. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I guess I don't think that that's actually it. Because in my waking life, I didn't speak about any or think about any of these things as real until years later, at which point I had done a softer ketamine, a softer psilocybin. It was probably on my 8th ayahuasca experience that I had that and then even past that. So it was only years later do I have that perspective.
Oh, really? I remember you doing it right after the first time you did DMT.
No, yes, the day after. But if you'd asked me 2 weeks after that what I thought of it, I would have said no, that was not the case.
Do you think you have a mystically prone brain? Have you read you've read Stealing Fire, right?
Yes.
By Stephen Kotler
Yes,
and Jamie
yeah.
Wheel. And you talk about the DIY God helmet, right? Where you can go on Reddit and you can download instructions to create like a $250, I think, like helmet that will send I don't know if it's like transcranial magnetic stimulation, but some sort of currents through your brain at the point of your brain that seems to be where the feeling of mystical experiences live. And it will induce this like profound, almost like paternalistic, like up, top down. Like,
this is a genuine thing you can create?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I haven't done it myself, so I have not verified it.
I've never heard of this.
But I trust the guys who are at Stealing Fire. They know what's up. And I think after reading that, one of the things I've sort of a hypothesis I've developed and I think observed is that some people have just more mystically prone brains. So just like my, biology and neurochemistry is like more prone to perceiving and processing the world through thoughts than emotions, sort of like, sort of hallmark dimension in a lot of personality tests. I think I have seen and met a lot of people who just seem to be mystically oriented. Mm-hmm. We have a mutual friend. I'm not going to be comfortable, so I'm not going to name him, but he had, his first psychedelic experience was on ayahuasca. He was, Christian, and it was not, most of his friends, nearly all of his friends were not Christian. Mm-hmm. So it was always interesting. Went to the incredible school, very, curious, but he was, clearly has like a deep mystical connection to something greater and something spiritual and religious. And he had the most intense psychedelic experience I've ever even witnessed or heard of. Mm-hmm. He like orgasmed in his pants. He was like shaking maniacally for hours. It was like quite disconcerting, and came out the other end no longer believing in a Judeo-Christian God, but now on a deep spiritual path, believing in frequencies and vibrations and stuff, chakras, and some stuff that he is sort of a different type of spirituality. I think he just has a mystically oriented brain, whereas maybe I do not. Do you think you have a mystically oriented brain? Like, where do you think you fall in that spectrum?
I don't know. I do think that one of the that supposing that the foundation of all of this is in the brain is to presuppose a materialist worldview. So it's tough to like, if I grant that yes, I have a mystically oriented brain, then I have granted that the substrate of this is,
the counter argument would be that person just has more access to the truth.
That the brain is not the substrate of what is not the only substrate of it. And I totally grant that there's the level of reality which I most often interact on is the same as you, and it is not as a soul or as a pure consciousness or anything like that. So do I have a more mystically? I think probably you could say that you could probably locate a part of my brain that was perhaps more similar to part of his brain. The question is whether that is an effect or a cause. Meaning, like, if the substrate of the entire universe is pure consciousness and it's a dream, as I call them woo-woo, but some of the mystics say, and I would be then all of consciousness dreaming a Charlie that had a brain that looked like that other person's brain. And we look at it and go, oh, look, that's why he's having this experience. But the question is whether that is an effect of pure consciousness or the cause of what is simply an experience.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get to a conclusion, obviously.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, we're going to get to a conclusion by the end of this podcast. Convinced.
Solve metaphysics forever.
Done. Complete. Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.